On number 2, similar to the review, this is a question where we're graphing the quadratic function to find whether the graph opens up or down, the vertex, the intercepts, and the axis of symmetry. And this one is in what they call standard form, which has A, H, and K. So the H and K actually tell you the location of the vertex, located at the point H, K. So we're going to use that to help us find it here in this instance. First thing we're going to do is identify the number for A. A equals, in this case, -2. Now since that is a negative number, that tells us that our parabola opens down. And so that's the first step, and then after that we'll determine the vertex. From our function, we'll determine the H and the K. Well, the very first one is the K. K is the last number here. This case is 8, positive 8. Then take what's inside this parentheses here, set that to 0, then add this 1 over, and you have x is positive 1. The 1 tells you what the value of h is. And so here h is equal to positive 1. And so the vertex is the point 1, 8. Now we'll find the x-intercepts. As with all of our functions, to find the x-intercepts, we set y or f of x equal to 0 and solve for x. In that case, it's going to look like 0 equals -2 x minus 1 all squared plus 8. Then we need to solve for x. This is not a situation where we can factor because it's not a trinomial. What we're going to have to do is get the part raised to the second power by itself on one side of the equation. So to do that, we're first going to move this 8 over, subtract it from both sides. That gives us -8 equals -2 x minus 1 all squared. Now the 2 out in front needs to be moved away from the front of these parentheses. We can do that by dividing it out from both sides. And now we'll have the x minus 1 all squared by itself equal to -8 divided by -2 would be a positive 4. Now what we're going to do is take the square root of both sides, making sure to put a plus or minus in front of the number, square root. The square root will cancel out with the second power, leaving us with just the x minus 1 equal to plus or minus 2. Now we're almost solved for x. We add the 1 over. X equals 1 plus or minus 2. And then that breaks down into two numbers. X equals 1 plus 2 and x equals 1 minus 2. This one would be 3 and this one would be -1. So one x-intercept is 3, 0, and the other x-intercept is -1, 0. Okay, and now we'll find the last bit of information, the y-intercept. And to find the y-intercept, again, we set x equal to 0. So plugging in a 0 for x into the function gives us -2, 0 minus 1 all squared, plus 8. That's going to be -2 times -1 all squared plus 8. That would be -2 times +1 plus 8, or -2 plus 8, 6. So our y-intercept is the point 0, 6. Now we can put all of our intercepts and our vertex together to draw the picture. Okay, our x-intercepts are at -1 and +3. Y-intercept is at 6. Our vertex is at 1, 8. And so now we'll just draw the parabola up through our intercepts to the vertex. And since it's opening down, it'll come down through the other intercept. Now if we do, it did ask us for the axis of symmetry, which we're just going to look at the picture and say what the axis of symmetry is. The axis of symmetry runs straight down the middle of our parabola, right where the vertex is located at the number 1. So the axis of symmetry is x equals 1.